Hey there and happy Tuesday. So I'm on card number 2 for Kay Keelblock, and thanks so much for those of you that came out to join me last night in Medelia for my community ed class. I had a great time. It looked like everybody else was having a great time, so I was excited to see that too. And it was just a really good time of crafting together, catching up with people, and some people I haven't seen for a while and such too. And what better thing to do than on a really cold sub-zero night last night than to gather and stamp. So we put together some fun cards. Hi Lisa, hi Patty. So even though it's another like bitterly cold day here in Minnesota, I thought I'm gonna bring you something for spring for Kay's card number 2. Hi Rosina. So I'm bringing you kind of a pairing. The Easter Bunny bundle pairs so well with the Celebration Thanks a Bunch stamp set. So I'm trying to kind of build a scene today for you guys and doing just some techniques that sometimes we forget about. We can take our pretty designer series paper, stamp on that, and just kind of build a scene in different ways too to add more color and more texture and depth to our cards. So that's my goal today, is to do something a little different that way. And so let me just make sure that I'm caught up here on my iPad, and I am, so I'll get this turned around for you guys. So another reason why I really, even though it's the last day of January, I really wanted to start working on spring and Easter looking things is, like I've mentioned before, that Heart Punch is sold out until like the end of April, and the Clover for St. Patrick's Day is sold out, not coming back. So it's like, okay, what's next for punch bundles that could go haywire? And it's what came to mind was the bunny. So not only is it great for Easter, but it's just a great thing for spring. And I love, we've had really cute Easter things before, especially with animals. And I love that they came out with a punch this time that really was like, oh yay, like made it to my wish list along with so many other things out of this mini catalog this time. It made it on there so fast, stayed on there, and it arrived magically as if I didn't even order it, but I did. All right. I am nursing like the worst paper cut. January, there's something for certain because of the cold weather, and during Celebration, I think I just make so many more cards and touch so much paper. It's just like, oh my goodness, it hurts so bad today, you guys. So if I'm constantly rubbing it, I'm trying to put some Udder Balm in my crack because that really helps to do it. And I'm trying to rub it in so I don't get anything weird on Kay's card too. I kind of try and stop myself every hour and reapply. All right, so out of the mini catalog on page 52, there is the cute Easter Bunny bundle. So, of course, if you buy the stamp set and the punch together, it's just $34 because of the 10% bundle savings. So I always recommend that. Every once in a while I think, do I need that whole, set of things? And then what happens is, like, every time I need to go back and reorder because I wished I would have gotten it the first time. So lots of cute things in here, like I said, for just spring and Easter. And then it pairs up so well with the Thanks a Bunch just to add more carrots and different things out of here. And the Thanks a Bunch can be purchased or not purchased, earned for free from Celebration here on page 5. And then the other part of my card today that I'm working with is some more of the day at the farm. And I've been doing lots like with the farm sceneries, farm prints, vegetables, all the little critters and stuff. But today I'm kind of just using some patterns from there. And some of you have said, oh gosh, I didn't even realize like this or that was in there. And I'm not going to show you the whole package because I've been using it. But today I'm using like this chicken wire look here and the yellow stripe. So I think that's going to be fun to put these together and just kind of help build my background that I told you I'm going to do today too. Hi Joyce, hi Nancy, hi Lorna, hi Fern. Nancy, I hope I get to see you this weekend if you're coming to the retreat that I'm going to be at. That would be so fun. All right, so here's my color combination today. Lots of different papers, as you can see. Pumpkin pie. And then this has like some yellows into it that I'm not like coordinating with anything. But my brown tone that I am coordinating cardstock with is Sahara Sand. And then I've got some Pear Pizzazz going on too, as well as basic white, just to kind of cut out my things too. Hi there, Bridget. Fun to have you on here. All right, so this is where it's like, okay, I spent a lot of time on my card and a lot of things came and went and are off to the side because they didn't make the cut for my card. And so I'm like, oh, as I was prepping, I'm like, oh, I washed up a bunch of stamps and realized I didn't even end up using them on my card the way I wanted to. So they're ditched off onto the side too. So what I think I'm going to do is build kind of my background paper here, build that up. So originally this was going to be my card front here was just that like that chicken wire on the Sahara sand, like so. And then the more I kind of started to build up some of my colors and such, I thought it just, I mean, it was okay, but it just seemed bland. And I like to show you this too, because the fun thing about it is, like, if you know me at all, I love neutrals. Like, people are like, well, what if I were to pick like a color family to start with and build my collection? I always say my neutrals because that's what I tend to go with. And that's just me. And so when I see neutrals, I'm like, oh, it's just soft, subtle, plain, and I like it. But then look at what this does, bringing in just that little pop of only orange. Doesn't that just like brighten up the whole card like instantly? So yes, just so fun. Oh, hi, Missy. Yes, Medelia. I covered that at the very beginning. It was so fun. And I don't mind saying again, because it was that fun last night to see June and the Medelia gang. So yeah, loved it. Loved every second of it. Okay, so I'm actually going to do some stamping down here on this chicken wire. So before I get too far, I'm going to just bring out some scratch paper here. And this is going to be kind of a little bit of a subtle thing. I have 2 shades of carrots that I'm going to work with for today's card. And so I'm going to do kind of the more subtle carrot color. So I'm bringing out my ink pad that is Mango Melody. And then I have this little grouping of carrots, and I kind of want to keep my stamp sets kind of handy and close by because there's so many things that can cross over between the two. I don't want you to get confused, and that's always why I love doing these videos, so I can show you where things are coming from and such. So this little grouping of carrots is from the Celebration Thanks a Bunch stamp set. And so with that, I'm just going to take and just stamp out little bunches of carrots, and I'm kind of double stamping without re-inking just to kind of add more texture and depth and make it look like there's a lot of carrots. So that's going to go across the bottom there with Mango Melody. And then I'll open up my Granny Apple Green ink pad and switch that out here. And then there's that little sprig that also comes from that Thanks a Bunch here. And so the nice thing about Thanks a Bunch is it has a little sprig and a big sprig. So I'm using the little, and actually I was going to make up some bigger carrots and with a bigger sprig like this. This was going to be on my card too, and it just looked ginormous. Like, it looked like a creepy movie when I brought that in. Like, we're not doing big carrots and these little things and a cute little bunny and then pull out these big carrots. That's going to give the rabbit a nightmare for the rest of its life, right? So that got ditched off to the side for a different day. Hi there, Kier. And so I'm taking this little sprig here and that same technique, just kind of stamping it a couple times to give it some depth and the light and dark color. And the fun thing about this is it kind of gives you a nice subtle layer on that designer series paper for the fact that we're stamping on a design, so that automatically just kind of softens the look of the ink on there. And the Mango Melody isn't a big bold color, and so I feel like between the Granny Apple Green and Mango Mellow, it tones it down because I'm stamping on the designer series paper, which is kind of fun. Hi there, Julie. So the other fun thing, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, and I was almost thinking of doing it today. I've seen on Pinterest and other areas where people are taking these carrots and stamping them this way, and then they become trees. So don't be surprised if you see me using those as trees, because some of the greens in these just look so spectacular. But what I am doing is taking this that can shade the carrot and add depth onto that, and that I'm going to kind of build into my scene too. So I'm taking the strip of Pear Pizzazz, and taking that little buildup of grass here with my Pear Pizzazz ink pad. And now this, I'm just going to kind of stamp and do that same kind of, without re-inking, give it some depth by re-stamping it and just kind of going across there like so. So it looks kind of jaggedy, but it obviously looks like grass, and that was my whole point of doing that. So now I'm ready to add this onto my next layer here, my grass and my stripes. And you may start to wonder, like, where still is she going with that? But it'll come together hopefully pretty soon for you. Yeah, and like with all of our paper, don't you go, oh my goodness, I just put tape on that vegetable paper and I told you yesterday how much I love it. Well, today we're using this. Okay, so I'm just going to put this little strip. The green here, the Pear Pizzazz, is a 1/2 inch by 3.75, because I always like to give you guys measurements to help you along the way with your projects, and it should line up there. I didn't want it to look crooked. My chicken wire here is 3.75 by 5, and then this little strip is 2 inches by 3.75. So if you're getting the theme of the width is 3.75. So that's what we have kind of for our scene building there. And now I can turn that over. And once again, look what I'm taping, covering up all these cute little chicks and geese and chickens and everything. So this is going to go on Sahara sand, which I cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we've got that to build that up. And this is where I think, I brought in that orange to show how it pops. And now having that little bit of a carrot background, and that really makes those carrots pop. And even this yellow designer series paper really makes that pop. And believe me, as cold as it is, I was really excited today about doing a spring card for Kay's party here. So that makes it fun. Hi there, Sherry. Thanks for joining in, and Sharon too. Okay, so now that we have this whole background and scene built up, now we need to come up with some things to put on it. So I just have some basic white cardstock here, and I'm going to get out my Memento ink pad. And part of the Easter Bunny bundle here is this photopolymer stamp set. So like I like to show you guys, when I use photopolymer, then I get out my Stampin' Mat so I get a good crisp image here. So we're just going to stamp that bunny out in the corner. Isn't it cute? Love it. And it's such a great size. That's what I love about it too. So the fun thing about that is I can just pull out my punch, line that up. Today's card does not use the cut and emboss machine for anything. As I was getting ready, I usually have that next to my work table anyway, but it's always kind of weird when I get it ready and realize I'm not even using it. All right, so yes, Sherry, thanks so much. It is cute, cute, cute. All right, so I'm going to come in just a little bit closer. Not a lot of hard coloring today. I'm just going to take my crumb cake blends. I'm going to start with the dark. I prefer the bullet tip, so everybody kind of has their preference if they like to color with the brush tip or the bullet tip, and sometimes it depends if you're outlining versus coloring in or whatever, but I just tend to like the bullet tip basically for everything. So I'm just going to kind of scribble, and you've seen me do it before. I do a lot of scribbling with my blends, just because that's the difference between them and regular markers, is that they just forgive all the scribble lines. So where the artist has put any kind of outline, then I just do that. Hi there, Jill. So Jill's from up in the Twin Cities area, and last night at the Medelia Community Ed class, somebody said that they were on a Zoom and ran into Jill that way, talking about having been to my open house, and I thought, oh, how crazy. I knew exactly who they were talking about, because I think Jill was the only person that traveled that far to come all the way up from the cities for my open house. So that was too cool of a small world coincidence right there. So Jill, you haven't missed too much. All right, so you can see nothing special with the coloring just bringing in that outline too. So, and Bridget says, yes, she's loving the new mini catalog too. Just lots of fresh ideas for spring that aren't, you know, your basic flowers. Of course, there's some flowers in there and those are great too, but it's just been some new things that we haven't seen either for a while or ever from Stampin' Up. So it has been really fun. So now with the light crumb cake, I'm just going over everything here. Sorry for the squeaks. I'm kind of heavy on the hand, which probably doesn't help with the squeaks. And so I'm just filling in anywhere that I haven't colored. And actually where I have colored, I'm just kind of going over those two to just kind of blend it. And something that we learned last night, we did a different card with the Easter rabbit, and you can see all these lines here, and some people were being like a little, feeling let down, like my coloring's not as good as yours because my lines look weird and my shading doesn't seem right. Am I using the right colors? But I said, just give it a few minutes and you can tell like the difference between my card versus this, like how much the lines just kind of disappear and kind of become blended and a little bit softer. So that's the only tip that I have too with using blends, is just give it some time. They're not instant. Sometimes they are. So I think that also makes us feel like they're always going to be, but I always feel like when my blends don't look quite the way I thought I might want to, I used to say I'll walk away and text somebody or make a phone call, and then by the time they come back, I come back, then they look great. All right, so now we're potentially going to put that bunny there on top of the grass, but I do want to do some more accent stamping and give this bunny some carrots. Hi there, Nikki. And so for this one, I'm going to do a little bit bolder orange color and pull out my pumpkin pie ink pad. And now for this carrot, I'm resorting back to the Thanks a Bunch. And so it's the smaller carrot here. And I'm just going to stamp that out whoops, I don't like that. Flipping that over. Couple times, full strength. There we go. And kind of connecting them like so. And then I want this little tiny sprig, so I'm going to pull back my Granny Apple Green and just put that coming out the top like so. Hi there, Donna. Good to have you on here. Okay, and now with my scissor, I am going to fussy cut this. Sometimes if it takes a while to fussy cut something, then I will have it set off to the side and all done. But sometimes I like to show how quick and easy fussy cutting can be. Some of you guys have told me you love to fussy cut. Other people like avoid it at all costs. So today I thought, oh, this could be kind of a drag. And then when I cut it out quick, I'm like, nope, I could do that several times and have it be kind of fun, especially the top. I thought the top little sprig of greenery might drive me crazy, but that was kind of fun to cut out like that. I'm going to try and make the carrot look a little bit tipped, but not too pointy. So we've got that like so. How fun for that, for an accent piece. All right, so then these two things can just be flipped over. And those of you watching the live video are the only ones besides me that realize like my mistake there is on the back side. And so I'm just going to put a couple mini dimensionals on here. Let's see, as far down as I can go, kind of, just to get several on there. Whoops. Thought about doing one big one, but I feel like this covers more area to do it like that. And then I'm going to get out the regular size dimensionals to put here on my rabbit. So I'll get some up there by the ears and then kind of there and there on the rabbit too. So we've got that going. So now I can put that on the card to continue building my scene. And I feel like that rabbit just looks like its eye and that carrot like, oh, so glad it's spring. And now we can do our sentiment. So for that, I'm going to take just a strip of Pear Pizzazz here. And the other punch I want to pull into my project is the Cloud Punch. And so sometimes you think of clouds and like bad weather, you know, or rainy or something like that. But I think the Cloud Punch has been fun just for adding sentiments, conversations. I've done all sorts of colors of clouds too, besides, you know, traditional white and such. And so with this being Pear Pizzazz, I'm going to use the Granny Apple Green, which is just kind of a shade darker, and that shows up really well on there. Let me get my Stampin' Mat back over here too for that. This like is my kitchen soup. Like you can see the mess that I've made here with all the things that I brought in, but off camera, even as I set it aside to keep making room to bring things in, there's a lot between the two stamp sets and everything, but I think that's what makes the card kind of fun. So yes, and Melinda's right. It's like so bright and cheery. So it looks like spring is the sentiment, and that one's coming from Thanks a Bunch as well. So that's where that's coming from. I'm going to pull that off like so. And then this I'm going to pop up as well with some dimensionals. Here we go. I'm just going to put like a couple on here. Some of you love to cover it so you can hardly see the green. I went, two's good today. So I'm just going to kind of tuck that behind the rabbit's ear there, and just a fun little conversation piece like that. And it just kind of like brings down the ceiling, makes it look like there's a little sky for the ground or something. And that just kind of completes the scene set that I've tried to come up with. I was going to do some accessories and thought, okay, what color? There's just so many colors going on. I thought greens or oranges. And because there's so many patterns and designs already going on, I decided to skip embellishments and ribbons and all of that too, just because I felt like there's a lot to the card already, and sometimes less is more, and I already feel like more was a lot today, a lot going on. So that's all for the front, and then I'm going to work on the inside. And so for that, I'm just bringing out my 4 by 5 1/4 piece of white cardstock. And at first I thought this was kind of a silly sentiment from Celebration. I'm like, when is that ever going to be appropriate? But then I thought for today's card, it was kind of fun. Everything's coming up carrots. And it's like, okay, that could be kind of fun for a spring sentiment. So I thought, let's do that. So I've got that. So I'm going to stamp that out in the Granny Apple Green. And then it's like, yeah, what did I do for the inside? Because I knew I added some kind of carrots. And so I'm going back to that little bunch and the more subtle color, that Mango Melody. And I'm just going to stamp out that little bunch there in the corner. And then tap the little sprig of greenery in the Granny Apple Green again too. So I think that's just a fun way to complete the inside look by having it coordinate with the front side there too. So I'm going to put that down. And hopefully this bundle won't sell out, or the punch won't sell out as fast as the others have lately. So that's why I'm like, I have to show you all these ideas that I have in my head before products sell out. And then I'm kind of like stuck with, okay, there went an idea and I can't use it. I think we're all sometimes feeling that way with different things because you can't get it. So there we have it today for Kay Keelblock, my virtual hostess, her card number 2. So let me get my camera turned around, and oops, here we go. And so how you can get the set of 3 cards that I'm making for Kay's virtual party, yesterday, today, thanks Sherry, and tomorrow I'll be doing card number 3. How you can get them all is by placing a minimum $25 order towards her party using her special host code. If you need help and want me to order for you, just make sure that you tell me that you want to use her host code, and I'll get that taken care of for you. And then you get the 3 cards as a thank you from her and I for placing your order. So tomorrow I'll do number 3 card for her, and that will wrap up her virtual demos. And then I take off for the weekend for the crafting retreat in Okoboji, and then I'll start in Monday. My goal is then to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.